under the Obama administration. So we're not where we need to be, but we're certainly moving forward, and we're doing the kinds of investments that are going to allow us to continue to create good jobs in the future. You know, one of the critical pieces of that has been the rescue of the auto industry. And that's not just been important to Ohio and Michigan. It's been important right here in New Hampshire, where right now we have 23,000 jobs that are related to the auto industry. That includes not just auto dealers and all of their employees, but includes a lot of auto parts manufacturers. And what we've seen since that auto rescue between 2010 and 2012 is a 17% increase in car sales in New Hampshire. So that's very good news. We like that. And you know, those companies, and particularly those auto dealers, are not just about the jobs, but they're critical to all of our communities in New Hampshire. We have small towns, we have an economy that's really based on small business, and those employers are critical to making sure that we can continue to grow the economy here and that our communities can continue to do well. Now, as we look at the next 4 years and the kinds of investments that President Obama is talking about making to continue to grow the economy, there are investments in aspects of the economy here that we have found very important to job growth. Continued support for small business, investment in trade and making sure that our small businesses can compete in an international market, continued support for energy, alternative and renewable forms of energy. We have a whole group of companies here in New Hampshire that are doing great work in innovation around energy. Continued investment in infrastructure and in education. You know, one of the things that the President has been very committed to is supporting higher education, which is so important to making sure we have a trained workforce. Here in New Hampshire, we have the highest average student debt burden in the country, and what we've seen under the last 4 years under Barack Obama is tax credits to help those families, and expansion of Pell Grants, and changing the way we provide loans to students so that they get the benefit as opposed to private sector big banks getting the benefit from that student loan program. So that's the right prescription for us in New Hampshire, and the right prescription, I think, for the future of this country. We need to keep moving forward. We need to choose Barack Obama tomorrow. Yay. I'm really pleased to be joined by my colleague from our neighboring state of Massachusetts, who I have served with for the last 4 years in the Senate, and I'm very proud that he's up here to help us in New Hampshire, Senator Sen Kerry.
Senator Shaheen, thank you very much. Great to be here with your former governor and now senator who's doing an extraordinary job in Washington. I'm pleased to be here with all our other friends, and particularly with the UAW and the AFL-CIO and working folks from this state. I want to talk to New Hampshire as directly and as honestly and openly as I can. New Hampshire gave me the great privilege of marching on to the nomination of my party, and I carried New Hampshire. New Hampshire voted for me when I ran for president. And I know New Hampshire. I know New Hampshire well. Went to school here, vacation here. I've been here many times, many times. I know that New Hampshire takes presidential politics as seriously as any place in the country. But I also know that New Hampshire believes in the truth. And New Hampshire understands that truth in public life is important. I had the distinct privilege of being asked by President Obama to take on the role of Mitt Romney for the debate preparations. And I knew I was getting pretty good when I came home and my dog growled at me. I figured out it was working. I got so good at one point, I closed a couple of factories and sent workers overseas. I drove away from the debate practice with my dog on the roof of my car. So I got pretty good at this. I got pretty good at it. But I'm telling you, Mitt Romney is not telling the truth to America. He is not telling the truth in Ohio, where he is advertising that Jeep is going to move its production facilities overseas, and the head of the company has told him he's not telling the truth, and they still run the advertisements to try to influence the outcome of an election based on deception. I'll tell you, my friends, in New Hampshire, Massachusetts had Mitt Romney as governor. Mitt Romney is losing Massachusetts to Barack Obama by 20 points. So I ask the citizens of New Hampshire, what does it tell you that the man who governed our state cannot win his own state that he governed in running for president? It tells you that the people who know him best trust him the least. We know what he did. He lost 45,000 manufacturing jobs, double the number of the rest of the country. He left our governor today, Governor Deval Patrick, with $1 billion deficit. He raised all kinds of fees, about $700 million of them on the middle class, while he gave 278 of the wealthiest families a great big tax cut. He cut education. And he turned his back on infrastructure investment, didn't fit people to work where he could have to rebuild our state. That's why he left. That's why he couldn't run for re-election. I'll tell you, my friends, we know Mitt Romney in Massachusetts. And we're saying to all of you here, that record should forewarn people in this country. Now, I will tell you that when I tried to argue with the president in preparation for those debates, I tried every which way to make those numbers add up. They don't add up. No computer, no mathematician, no sleight of hand, no magician, no wizard can make Mitt Romney's numbers add up, and I'll tell you why. He promises to extend the Bush tax cuts. That's $1.3 trillion it costs us. He then promises a 20% tax cut on top of that. That's $2.7 trillion. You're now at $4 trillion. Then he won't get rid of capital gains. He won't change his state. He won't change other things. That's another trillion. That's $5 trillion. And then $2 trillion to the military that they haven't asked for. That's $7 trillion. My friends, we've seen this before. It's what George Bush did in 2001. It's what drove us to a Wall Street unleashed in 2008. And Mitt Romney is promising to lift the Wall Street regulations we put in place, get rid of Obamacare, put 52 million Americans out of health care altogether, put Medicare at risk, put Medicaid at risk by sending it back to the states, and every governor in the country will tell you they can't afford to do Medicaid on their own. It means less quality of life, less quality of care. There isn't anyone I know of in New Hampshire, because New Hampshire knows how to count numbers and cares about taxes, who ought to buy in to this flim-flam artistry, to this phony, fraudulent program that is going to favor the wealthiest people in America and once again dump the load on the middle class. We need to elect Barack Obama. We need a candidate for President of the United States who tells the truth, not some of the time, not occasionally, who tells the truth to the American people, fights for the truth, stands for the truth, runs on the truth. And I got news for you folks, we in Massachusetts know that's not a man who after the age of 45 or 50 changed his position on every single fundamental belief of American politics, on guns, on marriage, on gays, on religion, on abortion, on the war, on health care. He's even running away from his own health care plan in Massachusetts. He created Obamacare, Romneycare, same plan, and now he disowns it. I want a president. I want to end on an up note here. Barack Obama has made some of the toughest decisions of any man as president since Franklin Roosevelt in in the New Deal, trying to break us out of the Depression. And let me tell you what's happened. From the time when he came in, when we were losing 800,000 jobs a month, we've become a country that for 32 months is adding jobs. Barack Obama has presided over the creation of 5.4 million jobs, which is more jobs than George Bush created in 8 years. We have the lowest level of unemployment we've had in 4 years, lowest level of job claims in 4 years, lowest foreclosure rate in 5 years, highest stock market, almost record high, 401ks are up, business profits as high as they have been in years, housing starts are up, housing prices are up, foreclosures are down, America is on the move, we're on our way back. We do not want to go back to the policies that brought us the crisis in the first place. New Hampshire, help us do what's right and keep a strong president in the presidency. Keep us moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Hello, New Hampshire. My name is Bob King, and I'm the president of the UAW, and I'm really proud to be here today with our regional director, Julie Kushner, from this area, with both the senators. It's an honor to be here with you. What's most important to me about this election and why I wanted to be here today, it is, as Senator Kerry and Senator Shaheen said, it's about integrity, and it's about who is telling the truth. And to me, it's about who can you trust. And I don't think there's a better example than the auto industry. Because President Obama, when it wasn't popular, when people were angry about the financial bailouts of Wall Street and the banks, he stood up for American companies and American workers. And the polls in some cases were 80% against rescuing the auto industry. The president, because he knew it was 1 million jobs, and he knew it would push us from a terrible recession into really depression, he did the right thing. And what makes me so angry about Mitt Romney, that it's terrible that the way he flip-flops, but that this industry that he came out of, that his family got their wealth out of, that he lies about it and he changes his position all the time. We all know he said, let Detroit go bankrupt. And then since that time, when he found out that wasn't that smart politically, he keeps changing his position back and forth. You remember the third debate. You remember what Romney said in that debate. He said, oh, I wouldn't do anything to hurt the auto industry. Well, let me tell you, what he's doing right now in Ohio is hurting the auto industry. We're booming in Ohio. We're hiring all kinds of new workers. Chrysler Corporation on the Jeep brand is spending about $4 billion investing in Toledo, Ohio, investing in Belvedere, Illinois, investing in Detroit, Michigan. And for Romney to try to use fear and scare tactics and tell workers in Ohio that all their jobs are going to China is outrageous to me. It says something about the character of the man. And then as Senator Kennedy said, when Sergio Marchionne, the CEO of Chrysler, came out, twice Chrysler corrected Romney. First from the head of PR, and when that didn't do it, Sergio put out his own statement saying, hey, we're going to grow jobs in America. We're going to grow Jeep production in America. And then what did Romney do? Instead of saying, oh, somebody gave me bad information or something, he doubled down on the lie. He increased the advertisements on the lie. He did robocalls to workers throughout Ohio. And then he added into his ad that General Motors was taking American taxpayer dollars and using that money to invest in China, not the U.S. Another outright lie. General Motors put out a press release the next day saying he must be living in a parallel universe. General Motors, which is twice the size of Chrysler, General Motors is investing over $8 billion in the United States of America. We're month in and month out, we're doing more announcements about more jobs. And here's the important thing to me, and what I hope everybody in Ohio and New Hampshire around this country understands. This guy will do anything to get elected. He's not only hurting auto workers in Ohio, but he's hurt people tied to the auto industry. When he damages the brand image, the brand name of General Motors and Chrysler, when he lies to the American public and says these companies aren't committed to doing production here, he drives sales away from our dealerships that are now growing. That 17% that we've seen here, he's putting that in jeopardy. He's putting everybody in our communities does better when auto workers, when dealership workers, when they make more money, there's more disposable income. That helps the barber, the beauty shop, the lawyer, the doctor. That helps all of our community. It's more money for charity. It's more money for our churches. It's outrageous that he's putting all that at jeopardy, that he's lying so outrageously to hurt it. And the final thing I want to say, because this didn't get much play, but it's really important for people to understand. All the times he said no on the loans. Do you know who personally benefited by the Delphi loans, by investing with the vulture capitalists who came in and bought the Delphi stack for pennies and then held up the general corporation? Really, Steve Ratner said they're like Barbary Coast extortionists. Mitt Romney made at least $15 million and maybe $115 million while moving jobs to China, taking pensions away from workers. This guy has not created jobs in America. This guy has made his fortune off the misfortune of other people. So let's, all of us, this is the final push, let's all do everything possible to talk to everybody, make sure they vote, make sure they have the information when they do. Thanks very much, New Hampshire.
I just want to recognize too John Shin, who's a regional director in Steelworkers, who also has a big investment in the auto industry as well.